Millions of people are upset, and they are upset because of what Congress just did in expanding Social Security benefits to millions of people. Now, even though it's an expansion to 2.8 million beneficiaries, all the other millions of people, the other 69 million people that receive Social Security benefits are actually left out, and it hurts them. And according to the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget, they are saying that you could actually lose out on about $25,000 of lifetime earnings. So I'm going to break all this down in just a moment, explain what is going on and why millions of people are asking for answers right now. So I'll break all that down in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. Take 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoyed these daily updates, and now let's begin. So here's what's going on. Just recently, the Senate approved a bill to expand Social Security benefits to about 2.8 million beneficiaries. Now, I want to address this just a little bit because I know a lot of people are asking, why did they do this? How is this going to impact the majority of Americans? And that's the key. It's not. The reason why they're doing this, they called this bill the Social Security Fairness Act. They're trying to be fair here. Because over the past handful of years or many decades, millions of people, firefighters, postal workers, teachers, anybody with a public pension has been missing out on a lot of their benefits simply because they were not allowed to get them. I want to read this to you. It says nearly 3 million Americans will receive full Social Security benefits under legislation passed in the waning hours of the current Congress and now headed to President Biden, who is expected to sign this into law. President Biden is not expected to veto this bill. This is something that he has wanted as well. Keep in mind, he's promised that Social Security beneficiaries were to receive an increase, but yet he didn't give them an increase. All he did was try to go and get decreases, mainly through medication, and he said, well, there you go. There's your increase. I want to read this to you. It says senators voted 76-20 for the Social Security Fairness Act, which would eliminate 2 federal policies that prevent nearly 3 million people, including police officers, firefighters, postal workers, and teachers, and others with a public pension, from collecting their full Social Security benefits. It says the legislation has been decades in the making, as the Senate held its first hearing into the policies in 2003. Okay, so they've been discussing this for quite a while. But it's what is being said by the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget. Look at this. It says, Senate will soon vote on speeding up Social Security insolvency. Well, the Senate voted to tune of 76-20, and yes, they passed the bill. Look at this. It says Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer announced yesterday that the Senate would vote on a Social Security Fairness Act, which passed the House in November. This bill would repeal the windfall elimination provision and government pension offset, 2 policies that reduce Social Security benefits for those who are otherwise eligible for non-Social Security government pensions. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that enacting this bill would hasten the Social Security insolvency by 6 months and add $196 billion to deficits over a decade. Now, this is where things are getting interesting, okay? Because again, what we've known for the past several years is if we increase the payouts or decrease the payouts by about $200 billion, that will either increase the insolvency or give us more time, about 6 months, which is exactly what they're talking about here. Without passing this bill, would speed up the insolvency date by 6 months by adding $196 billion to the deficit. Okay? Says right here, and this is where people are freaking out, because now we're getting more and more reports that by passing this bill, that we could see millions of Social Security beneficiaries could see their benefits get cut much sooner. Here's the thing, though. This isn't just a Democratic bill. This isn't just a Republican bill. This was a bipartisan bill. This bill had overwhelming support in Congress. Look at this. It says, because of the advance in solvency, we estimate that repealing the windfall elimination provision and the GPO would reduce lifetime Social Security benefits by $25,000 for the typical couple retiring at insolvency, including more than $8,000 in the first year alone. Look at this right here. It said, it is truly astonishing that at a time when we are just 9 years away from the trust fund for the nation's largest program becoming completely exhausted, lawmakers are about to consider speeding that up by 6 months and add on top of that another $200 billion in new borrowing as a result. We are racing to our own fiscal demise. Now, the shocking thing, and this is where many Americans that are not going to receive this benefit are just up in arms, is why did we wait? We were discussing this back in the early 2000s. Why did we wait 20 years to get this done? Because by waiting 20 years, and so getting this done in 2024 means we have a 10-year window to figure out how we can actually make more money, put more money into that trust fund, okay? Because right now, by adding an additional $200 billion, it's technically 196, but I'm just going to round up, $200 billion, which means $20 billion per year is added onto this. We have to figure out a way to increase the revenue that goes into Social Security by $20 billion. Well, how do we do that? That's the key. That's the thing that many people are just furious about. Why would they pass this bill? What is the reasoning behind it? There has to be a reason behind it, okay? Which we are not being told. It says, even worse is that repealing the WP and the GPO does nothing to address the windfalls they are intended to eliminate. Instead, it just restores windfalls for folks who have other government pensions. What an incredulous set of events. Goes on to say, hastening Social Security insolvency will only make its consequences worse. Benefits will be cut by an additional 1% while reducing lifetime benefits for a typical couple by 25%. We should be talking about how to prevent this cut, not make it bigger and happen sooner. That's the big thing, okay? There's going to be an additional 1% cut to lifetime benefits, all because of this bill right here, okay? Now, was this bill needed? No. Was this bill something that, those people that work as teachers and firefighters, police officers, and postal workers, did they deserve this? Yeah. You know, I think that if you worked in the system and you paid in and you did all this stuff, yeah, you should be getting a portion of that and you shouldn't be, hurt because of it. Now, the issue that everyone has, though, is why did they do this so soon? Why is this something that they decided to do when we are less than 10 years away from the insolvency date? Well, because of one thing. Democrats are extremely concerned that Donald Trump is going to make changes. So, they put this in as one of those last-minute deals. And it's something that Republicans wanted as well. Okay. Now, what we see moving forward is going to be interesting. And I say this because of one reason. We are going to see changes to Social Security. We're going to see changes to Medicare and Medicaid and SNAP benefits and any social spending program. We are going to see changes. But exactly what those changes look like, and are they going to make an improvement, or is it going to make our lives more difficult in the next 4 to 10 years when lawmakers have to figure out a way to keep Social Security solvent? That's the big question. As of right now, we just don't know. But I want to know your thoughts on this. Do you think this is going to be a good thing? Or do you think this makes things even more difficult, where now lawmakers are going to have an almost impossible task of coming together and reaching some type of an agreement? Well, we'll see what happens, but that's what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.